Jams, jams, jams. Picture books and jams. Welcome, everybody, to PBJamz. Music and picture books, what a perfect sandwich. Squish them all together, what a yummy snack. PBJamz, yummy books and music. PBJamz, reading, writing, teaching. PBJamz, what a yummy treat. Jamming PBs all the time. PBJamz.
I don't know when I've never been this excited about an episode, I have to say, because I'm here with Steena Hernandez, and Steena was one of the most wonderful supporters of PBJamz from the very beginning. We were friends on Twitter and literally brought together by picture books and music and PBJamz. And this is the first time, Steena, this is the first time that I've interviewed somebody who's been like just a faithful watcher and supporter of PBJamz. And I am thrilled to be able to give that support back by interviewing you today about Lupita's brown ballet slippers. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Tawny, for that introduction. I remember your initial post about picture book and jams. You were thinking about putting this together.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Let me find out what that's about. That's so cool. Picture books and music, musical, and maybe dance, since they
And
kind of
maybe
go
dance.
together. Dance and music, they go together like this.
They do.
So I just was, yeah. And then I think I might have been like your first blog post on that inaugural, that first
Yeah.
launch day,
Yeah.
because I was like, I got to see what this is about. And just, yeah, I love what you do with PBJamz. And I know your whole heart is in it. I can see, with your content. And I love learning about all the new creatives that you've brought on. And just like, wow, just things that I didn't know about, them. And it's really been the highlight for me, and bringing Kidlit together the way you do is really something cool. So
Oh, thank
thank
you.
you
It's
for having
yeah.
me.
Yeah. It's
No.
so fun. I've met so many amazing people and friends, but also, yeah, like books that were not on my radar. I mean, I'll have people who'll send me and say, "Hey, you should check this book out," and "Oh, have you thought about this book for PBJamz?" And I wouldn't have seen them otherwise. And so PBJamz brings me to, books that I wouldn't have known and seen. And some of them are just so spectacular. I've just loved consuming the books that I share here and reviewing them, and it's just fun. It's so fun. But it's so fun to have you as a guest. And Steena and I have been in the trenches together. We were in the query trenches together, and I'm just so excited for
A
your
lot, a
very
lot.
first.
Thank you. Thank you, Tanya. I'm excited for yours too.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's
I
coming.
know it'll be here before you know it. It goes fast,
Time
There's a lot of
flies.
waiting, a lot of downtime, but then somehow it just happens.
Then it just is there, right? It just appears. Poof. Huh.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not
exactly.
looking forward to that hurry and go part. Yeah, but I'm ready. So, so exciting. So talk to us a little bit, I guess first of all about your inspiration for Lupita's brown ballet slippers.
Yeah, so I actually started dancing when I was 3 years old. So perhaps, it started there, and I didn't know that I was gonna grow up to be an author. I never thought about that until much, much later in life. But I started dancing tap, jazz, and ballet actually at the age of 3, and I did
Wow.
lots of recitals and performance. And as I got older at my dance studio, there was like a company that we had to audition for if we wanted to like go and compete. And so I auditioned, and we started going to different competitions and conventions all across the United States.
Yeah.
My sweet mom, who took me and supported me, and I'm very blessed for that, very lucky that she was supportive. I used to tell people that I was going to drop out in fifth grade. I don't know if this is the best message, but I remember saying this. I was going to drop out in fifth grade, move to New York, and be a famous ballerina. And I had it like all figured out. Yeah. Don't worry, Lupita doesn't say that in the book or anything. But yeah, that was my mindset. Like I wanted to grow up and to be a performer.
Yeah.
And I went to in high school, then I was in theater and I discovered musicals and I was like, hold on, like music and dance and acting all come together in one place. So I became like obsessed. And then I went to Texas Tech and got a theater scholarship,
Nice.
studied theater there, and really lovely theater department. I did a lot of shows and performing there. And yeah, so all of that, a collection of where I am today, and how, I kept hearing these things as I, later discovered I wanted to be a writer, where people would say, write what if you feeling stuck, write what start with that, and now I've even heard write what you want to know,
Oh,
which is,
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so I said, wow, well, this is something that I know a lot about. It was a big part of my life. And that's how that's the inspiration since I was 3 years old.
Amazing.
Never knew that, and then after becoming a mom is when I decided, I said, I'm reading lots of picture books
Mhm.
late at night when my kids are already asleep. I'm still reading them.
Yeah.
Uh, and I really just fell in love with the little stories. That were really like little scenes, and I'm pulling from the theatrical background. And yeah, and so I just became completely, in love
Yeah.
with picture. I know, yeah. And I was like, maybe, and then this is the other thing, maybe I can write one too,
Yeah.
and that was it. I mean, that was it. I was like, I was hooked and I just started. And I had always kind of kept a journal. I had done
Mhm.
a lot of touring, um, and I kept a journal. And so I liked writing, but I was not a writer. Um, but when you're a writer, you write, and so it's like if you're writing, then you're a writer, and so that kind of took me a while to figure out. And I'm like, wow, I'm doing this every day and I'm putting down my thoughts on paper. I'm a writer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Say it
Absolutely.
out loud, right? And then it becomes that's the truth.
Yeah. That's the
So
truth.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's how it all.
Wonderful. And so in this book, your main character Lupita, like she struggles because the ballet slippers don't match her skin color, her skin tone. Is that something that you dealt with personally, that people that dealt with? How did that element come into play? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot. I didn't tell her I was asking this one. Sorry.
No, that's good. This is great. Yes, this is what the book is about. So when I was talking about before about how I auditioned for my company, that kind of went all through high school. And that company that I was in, I was the only Latina dancer. And not that, it was like this sad thing or I felt left out or nothing like that. I never felt a lot of times, sometimes my dance instructor, depending on the choreography or what we were doing, might even be in the front,
Right.
sometimes, and we kind of moved around. But yeah, that was just something that, I was more and more as I got older aware of, and it was just a fact. But I just want to make that clear, like, I wasn't, pushed aside or anything like that, thank goodness. But the very first time that I saw um a group of dancers pancaking their ballet slippers, nobody had done that at my dance studio or
Gotcha.
anything. I was actually at a convention, so this is the first time I've actually talked about this. I was at a convention and I saw a group of girls, uh, sort of like really busy, like, and I have my little props here, you know, with a makeup, like a foundation, and they were, and drying them and fanning. It was very busy, and I thought, okay, and they looked like me, darker skin, maybe even darker. A few of them I think I remember, and I
Mhm.
just thought like, wow, okay, that was just something that kind of, stuck with me.
Mhm.
And then later, of course, when the story came about that, and then in college, that was something that I had tried, later. But at that time, that was very, like, it really just it stayed with me.
Yeah.
And so that's another inspiration, of course, for the story.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. Love that. So before we came on camera, Steen and I were talking that this started as a contest entry.
Oh,
So yeah, can you talk a little bit about maybe that rough draft to final project, like kind of how that came about? Whatever you want to tell us about the journey of the book.
yeah. So Karen Greenwald, author Karen Greenwald, amazing author. She had a contest called Sunright Fun. And yes, it did start. I saw informational fiction and those thoughts that I was just telling you from growing up and all of the things. I started thinking about that. And I'm like, oh, maybe I can write something specifically about the slippers to bring in that informational part of it. And so, yeah, I entered the contest and it's not a full picture book. When you enter
Right.
a contest, like 200 words or 150 words. And it was like the pink ballet slipper in the factory talking to the dark ballet slipper.
Okay.
They had already made, the slippers. And so it was something kind of like that. And I didn't win the contest, but Karen Greenwald did message me after and she said, I think you have something here. I think you should, consider, putting it into a full manuscript, picture book manuscript. And I thought, wow, like that moment was pretty big, to have someone like her, say she believes that I had potential. Yeah, it's huge. So I thought, wow, let me try it. And then that was it. And then I started sharing with critique partners and I was really surprised how many of them did not know about pancaking when you take the foundation to the matching foundation to then match your skin tone. So you have that elongated line instead of, that
Mhm.
being, cut
Stop.
off. 'Cause
Hmm.
all about elongated lines
Hmm.
in dance. And so I thought, wow, you didn't never heard of that. And no, a lot of people said, no, I never knew that. So it was an issue that, dancers of color have been dealing with for a very long time. And surprisingly, that not a lot of people had heard of that. So I thought maybe I should, you know, keep going with it. And it's a story to tell.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's an important story. And I was, which I'm not a dancer, never have been. In fact, nobody wants me on the dance floor. I can promise you that. But although I do it just because it's fun. But nobody's gonna come to pay to watch me for sure. But
Never know.
but so that was not my, that was not my lived experience in the dance world. But I mean, it makes perfect sense once you know about it. But I was not aware of that story either. So it's
Yeah,
great that you're getting that story out there and that little girls everywhere are gonna, not only recognize the struggle and the fact that it wasn't always this way, which I think is a really important message for our kids to know that, people worked hard so that we can get to where we are, whatever the case is. I mean, whether your family, I mean, my family was a family of poverty. So, my parents worked hard so that I could, do what I do. And people worked hard so that we could all have the right to vote. And people worked hard so there were, ballet slippers. And so I think that's such an important message for our young people to realize that they're standing on the shoulders of people who came before them who did amazing things. Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been a fun journey
I'm
to get
sure.
to.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very long journey to get to
Yeah.
this point, regardless of how you come into the industry. It's challenging and tough. So yeah, it's always a testament to um our tenacity and yeah, all that. Yeah,
We've
all the
talked so
things.
much about this, Tawny.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still here, still going.
That's right. And the encouragement that we give to each other, viewers that are in the kidlit community, like you never know, like the power of your words of encouragement to somebody else. Um, it's
Big
just so powerful. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I always try to be supportive and, as much as I can because I know if you're a writer out there and you're sharing your words, I know that can be challenging. I know that that can be hard. And
Yeah.
yeah, so we have to stick together as Kidlit. We have to, encourage and support.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's all we have, at the end of the day. And
That's right.
a little bit can help us get to that next point. Yeah, that
Yeah.
next step.
Absolutely. So we've kind of hinted already at the musical connections. And so when Steena got her deal, I'm like, okay, you have to come on PBJM's. So please tell me there's some music in your book. And
Yes.
so she said, well, it's about dance. And I'm like, well, hello, then of course it's about music,
Yes, they
right?
go.
Because yeah, they do. They go together like PB and Jam or, picture books of music and dance and
That's
all the
right.
things. So, would you like to talk any more about those connections or maybe that role of music in your life that kind of contributed to this? I mean, you are a musician in your own right.
Yes, absolutely. So when I did, go to Texas Tech and study theater, like the music theater, when they were announcing the shows and the musical came up, I'm like, oh my gosh, my heart started pounding. I was so excited. And I really loved that part where, like I said, music and dance and acting all came together in musicals. And so I started, getting more into, wanting to get a bigger role in those things. And I did get one role where the music director from the music department had seen me. And he came up to me and said, I really think that you have potential in your voice. I had never had any formal training for singing.
Okay.
And so that was, I think, my second year in college. And he took me right under his wing and he said, I want to help you. I think there's potential there, but I think that we need, if you want to really do this professionally someday, maybe we can kind of hone in on your what's already there and strengthen that. And so he did. And that was Mr. John Gillis at Texas Tech became my mentor for voice. And he's no longer here. And I know he's always with me. And but he was an opera singer for many years professionally. He's performed all over Stuttgart, Germany. And so he had this big voice. He was not very tall, but he had this big voice. And again, when someone believes in you like that, um, for my performance days, that was huge, and he took me, and then I started, becoming part of the music department, and I started being with all the music kids, and they would come to the theater, and they, a lot of them didn't want to be on stage in a musical, but they had their music. They kind of classically trained, a lot of them. Um, so yeah, it was kind of like I was in the music department, the dance department, and the theater department. So all of that, music, that's and singing, when I found my voice, like, wow, I can sing, and I never really like sort of like I'm a writer. You have to say it out loud,
Claim it.
and yeah, claim it. Like I sing, I dance, I write. Because if you say it, I play basketball, I play soccer, I play violin, whatever it is, you say it and claim it, like you said, then it's true, you know.
Yeah.
And that my mom used to say that, like if you don't believe it, then nobody else is gonna believe that, like say it out loud. And and I know just this industry and being, marketing yourself and putting yourself out there, that's hard. That's
Hmm.
hard. So when I, back to finding my voice, finding myself as a writer, finding, I feel like there's been a lot of discoveries like that. Maybe that's what life is, but but yeah, so that's music is also a very big part, especially later in life. And then I went on to I moved to New York right after college, and I had an agent, not a literary agent, an acting agent, and I started auditioning, and I did a lot of tours. I got a tour, was the Rent Broadway tour initially, and then later I did Rent several years later in Westchester, the Broadway theater there, where I actually played Mimi. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
It was cool. That was it. It's one of my favorite shows. But yeah, and so and then I toured later with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra for 3 years.
Which is
That's a
amazing.
It is super, that was a super experience. That was super fun. And yeah, it's like in my past life. No, I'm just kidding. Like it seems like it was a very long time ago.
Yeah.
But that's part of, all the stuff that you collect, and it's part of my story. And all of that has brought me, you know, to this book. It
Yeah.
really has,
Mhm.
because all of that kind of goes on the arts and the creative, creativity. And so yeah, that's that's how it all came together.
Yeah. So it's always interesting to me when when I invite people on and, we know we're going to talk about their book, but almost always there's kind of another theme that bubbles up to the surface. And I think today, listening to you talk, that theme has just been that words of encouragement and people that believe in you, that just speak to you and lift you up, and how that gives you the courage to then go on and do these amazing things that we're not sure we can do. And just the power
Yeah.
of our words as we encourage other people along the way, and just that legacy of positivity and encouragement. And that's one thing I love about the Kid Lit community that I think is probably not the case in other creative endeavors. Like, there's so much competition, and while of course that's there, I mean, everybody wants their moment, their book, their whatever. But there's also, in the Kid Lit community in particular, there's like this collective want for everybody to do well also. Yeah, and I love that. But listening to you talk about your mom and your professor, and and Karen Greenwald, I mean, like, that theme is just kind of bubbling up to the surface. And that's always so cool to me to hear how the conversation, you
Yeah.
know, goes, and how those little things that we don't know we're going to talk about, but that's kind of what we end up talking about. And so that's just really cool. I
Yeah.
love things that
I love
happen.
it too. I love
Yeah.
it too. And it's gonna be our chance now to go and inspire somebody. And that is huge. Like,
Huge.
I have a school, actually the my son's kindergarten and second grade teacher is now a librarian and has invited me to her new school. She's at a different school now, and my son's in sixth grade. Yeah, and I thought, oh my goodness, like this is amazing. Like
It's the
now I get
dream.
to share my book, and that's it's big time stuff for me, and how I can, so many people help me, with this book. So it's a village of people
Yes.
helped me. My writing mentor, Jennifer Torres with Las Musas.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know I was a writer. How do I not know that? But how do I not have that confidence in those words from her, and her believing in that me and my writing and my story? I mean, that's it. I woke up and I said, "Wow, it's true. My words are good, my words matter. My words can be important too." And yeah, maybe not everybody needs that, Tawny. I don't know, but for me,
I think everybody needs
big.
that.
You think so? I
I
wonder, like,
do.
maybe some writers just have that, and they say, "Oh, I'm good," and they already know. I don't know, but for me, it was another really big moment that she believed in me and
Mhm.
my story, and that's it. After that, I said, "Okay, I can do this," and that gave me the confidence to keep going and to write more stories. And yeah, it's big.
Yeah. Yeah, that is. I mean, yeah. It's interesting to me to hear you talk about how you've perform for all these audiences, like you've been on Broadway for goodness sakes, but then you're talking about going to the library, for your son's kindergarten and second grade teacher. And like, this is big. Did you hear her say that? Like, this is
Yeah,
big, you know?
big. So it's the biggest stage, the
Yeah.
biggest stage I'll ever be on in front of children.
Yeah.
You have a chance to inspire and to share and shape, their thought for that moment. It's my biggest moment.
Yeah.
And
And
that's,
help.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's wild.
To allow them to dream. And I think
Yeah.
so, where I live, there we have a small town, and there's a lot of, unsavoriness in our community. There's drugs and there's gangs, um and a lot of our kids, because it's small and because it's overshadowed with a lot of negativity and a lot of poverty, they don't know what to dream. They don't know how to dream, because all they know is what they see around them. But what you do, and what I get the opportunity to do when the time comes, is to say, you know what, there's a huge big world out there, and you can dream anything, and you can have brown ballet slippers, and you can dance, and you can sing, and you can play violin, and you can be on Broadway, and you can do all the things. You're not limited to this small space that And this is the beauty, I think, of picture books. And it's one of the reasons I think picture books are great for everyone, is because it PBJamz joke, but it allows people to see, rooting Bishop, windows and sliding glass doors and mirrors, those windows to the bigger world that say, oh my gosh, there's so many dreams that you could dream. You can
Yeah.
dream of ballet. You could dream of being, an opera singer, and, being on Broadway and doing all these things. And so I just, I love that. I have a guest who's coming when I can get it arranged, and she doesn't write yet. She is a musician, but she became a musician because of a picture book.
Oh, wow.
And so, and now she's a professor of music at a university, and all that started with the picture book, you know?
Wow.
Like,
I can't wait to
that's,
hear her
yeah,
story. That's
so
cool.
cool, right?
Picture books
So
inspire.
cool.
They're important.
They are. They really
Yeah,
are.
I know. So it's cool.
Well, I want to ask you what's coming next, but before I ask you about the launch and all the fun things, is there anything, because we've kind of gone around the world here, but is there anything that you want to tell us about your book that we have not talked about yet?
Uh, well, it comes out October 22nd. Um,
Yay!
I know I'm really excited. I don't have author copies yet, but maybe any day.
They're
I
coming.
haven't seen it. Yeah.
We're going to
Um,
manifest it right now. It's coming.
what can I say? Yeah, I have a launch party. I know you were talking about maybe we'll get to that, but I can't help it. I'm so excited. I am gonna do a launch. I wish you could be here, Tawny. That would be so cool.
I wish I could
So
too.
far away in
Texas is so far.
Have you ever been to Texas?
I
Have you
have
ever?
been to Texas a couple of times. Yeah. Yeah, a few
So,
times.
yeah, so that'll be on the 23rd at a local book shop here that I really love. And so I'm really excited. Have some friends and family, and that'll be like the first time that I'm, gonna read the book, the
Live and in
whole.
person.
Yeah, and I did read some of the book last week at the Latinx Kidlit Book Festival, and
Oh,
it's online, and it was just, a little snippet of it that I read with the digital arc was on the screen, and that was really exciting. I tried not to cry. I'm like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. So it was really, really special. But yeah, I'm beyond excited to read the book aloud like that, and I think
yeah.
that's gonna it's
Do
gonna
you want to
all
give
hit.
a shout out to the bookshop? You can say their name. It's all good.
Oh yeah, the Twig Bookshop here in San Antonio. They've been really amazing. And as far as, having me, come into their store and having my book and everything. So, and I'm doing a pre-order there with them as well. So
Awesome.
I'm
So the
really
Twig on the 23rd, for anybody who's local to San Antonio, y'all check Steena out the launch, the big launch. So any other big plans for in-person visits or anything coming up where we can look for you or online?
I think I'll be posting soon, some other bookstore events, and there is one more school that I'm talking to. So I would love to, again, to do the school visits. I think that's going to be really, really fun. And I'm looking forward to those. So yeah, I think I'll be posting those here pretty quick. I'm going to definitely post the Twig one pretty soon. So I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's coming soon. This episode, Steena and I are talking a little ahead of time, but it'll air October 7th and 14th. So it'll be right ahead of launch. So you'll have plenty of time to check that out. And I'll link up all of Steena's socials and her website. And by the way, we talk all the time on PBJamz about how you can support our authors, but let me throw out one more way. And that is to sign up for their newsletters. And can I just tell you that in the Kidlit world, we get a lot of newsletters and we go back and forth and, but Steena's newsletter is my very favorite. And so if you are not signed up for her newsletter, then go do that. Go to her website. It's going to link down below. If you're looking at this on the blog, if you happen to catch this on YouTube, make sure down in the description, there's going to be the place to go to the actual blog. There's a bunch more content there that you're going to want to check out, including the website link and the way where you can sign up for Steena's newsletter, and you can catch all her information on socials about where she's going to be and what she's going to be doing and when her next book's coming out, because we know it's coming sooner or later. So, this is a waiting business, people. If you're not in publishing, let me just tell you, it is a waiting business. But we know it's coming. We're manifesting that too, both of us. Like we're ready for the next book deal to come our way. So we're holding our breath and crossing. No, we're not holding our breath. We would pass out and die, but
But we are crossing fingers.
we are crossing our fingers.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, all that's going to be linked up below. And all the other things that we always talk about, leaving the reviews, sharing it by word of mouth, all your little dancer friends, your dance moms, be sure to share this book with them after you read it, and because you're going to love it and you're going to want your own copy. So just go ahead and get that pre-order done with the Twig. And speaking of copies, Steena's going to give away a copy to one of you that leaves a comment down below. So on the blog, leave a comment, and at the end of her episode, and it'll still be up, but it'll be featured for 2 weeks. At the end of that 2 weeks, we're going to put you in a drawing, everybody who leaves a comment, and somebody's going to get a signed copy of Lupita's Brown Ballet Slippers. It's so beautiful, and you're going to love it. So check all that stuff out below. Leave the reviews, share with your friends, all those lovely things to help our authors. Goodreads, Barnes & Noble, Amazon are great places to leave reviews. And anything else you want to add, Steena, before we wrap things up?
Yeah, just thank you, Tawny, for the kind words and just for having me. This is amazing. I love PBJamz, and to be now on this side, with you, and I'm always the one, watching and learning about amazing creators, and to just be on this side is really, really fun, really cool.
Really fun for me too.
I'm really excited for you and your book, and I think we might have mentioned it before we started, but maybe I can interview you when it's time.
We may do that. I think we're gonna have a big old PBJamz party when Music Plants Hope wings its way into the world. So we've got a while to wait. Like we said, waiting is forever happening in this industry. But yeah.
I'll be ready.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. It has been such fun having you. I am so honored that you came and spent some time with me and with all of us, and sharing about your book and your inspiration and those words of encouragement. So it's
always. Thank you, Tawny.
Great conversation.
You inspire me. You always have.
Thank you. Thank you.
Always have. Thank you so much.
Oh, I love you, girl.
Love you, Tawny.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave a comment, check it out, and we will see you next time on PBJamz. Later.
PBJamz.